Artificial intelligence is the talk of the town. And so a lot of times when people think of artificial intelligence, they think of different things like this. They think of some robots that are programmed, they are turning their heads or they're moving their arms, they're walking around, different things like that. Maybe people think of artificial intelligence like this. This is a guy and he's walking up and he's like, wait, is that woman real? Is she a hologram? What is it, a recording of an actual person? When in reality, artificial intelligence, it manages things like this today, where people are using AI built within factories in order to be more productive. For us as event planning professionals or someone who's planning an event, this is what it might actually look like. It's going to be you sitting down at a computer and using a couple of different tools. Now, primarily, probably one that you see there on the top right, where it's a group of text, or maybe on the left side there, where it's a chat bot, and we are using it to be more efficient with our time. And the goal of artificial intelligence within event planning is to look like this. This is a great movie. I love the movie called Bruce Almighty. This is a time when Bruce Almighty is sitting down at a computer and he's just answering as fast as he can these emails that are coming in. And he looks really efficient at it, right? He looks like he's doing a great job. And so here's today's topic is we are talking about artificial intelligence and LLMs, which stands for large language models for event planning. What does that look like? How do we use it? And different things like that. So I've got 4 main bullet points to explain to us what are LLMs. And so you can see in the top right here, it says that they are AI systems trained on vast text data. So text data would be like sentences, paragraphs, blogs, articles, websites, things like that. Maybe even transcripts of podcasts and transcripts of YouTube videos and transcripts of Vimeo videos and all kinds of things. Number 2, a large language model. So an example of this also would be like ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an LLM. Google has one named Gemini that is an LLM. There's one built into X, which used to be Twitter. So X has Grok. That is an LLM. And then there's a bunch of other ones. And Event Builder Pro even has one. It is built upon one named Claude. And so what it does, an LLM is it contains billions of mathematical parameters. It's trained on a bunch of text. It's analyzing patterns in language to generate human-like responses, and it learns from examples rather than being explicitly programmed with rules. What does that mean? Well, let's go back to this example where I remember 25 years ago when I was in school, I had like an introduction to robotics course. And so with computer coding, what we would do is if we had like a robot, we would program it using a very basic programming language. And it would say, okay, like if it was on wheels, it would drive a certain amount of feet or for a number of seconds at a certain speed, and then it would stop, right? And so that is a very specific set of examples. With this robot arm in front of us, it might be like, okay, rotate the arm for at X speed for X number of seconds or milliseconds, and then rotate this way and then rotate down. So you're very specifically programming, and it's in a very methodical, and it's a kind of a one-stop shop where like you program in a certain way and you hit play, and then it goes through the motions of what you type in. Artificial intelligence and large language models, what these 4 bullet points tell us is that this is not necessarily hey, you type something in and it follows the same routine every time like one of those robot does. AIs would not do that. And so what AIs do is it's because it has so much text, because it has so many different mathematical parameters, because it is constantly learning and trying to give back language like you would hear, then what it does is it's almost different every single time you approach it. Maybe I ask it in a certain way, you ask it in a certain way, and we get both back 2 different answers. What's interesting about these LLMs is we can do a couple of things with it as event professionals. And primarily in the event planning world, if you are planning maybe a birthday party or a wedding or a corporate event or an HR retreat or something along those lines, a sales kickoff, a 5K, here's how these tools like Grok and ChatGPT, these LLMs, can help us. Number 1 is they can help us with our efficiency. They can help us to be more productive we only have a certain number of hours that we can plan and work on this event throughout the day, and it can help us be more efficient. We can get more done in a shorter amount of time. And then number 2 is it can help us with our creativity. So our creativity would be the brainstorming and concepting and maybe in the writing phase, if we're writing scripts and different things like that. So these are 2 great things to talk about theoretically, but how can you actually use it while you're event planning? Number one is you can use it in your concept and your ideation phase. If you are taking an LLM, a ChatGPT, or something along those lines, and you are in the very early phases of your event planning process, then what you would do is you would go to it and you would say, okay, I'm looking for theme ideas and I have a daddy-daughter dance coming up. And last year we did a under the ocean theme.
Under the sea, under the sea.
What are themes that are relevant to kids in 2025? And how can I come up with a new theme and even some game and activities? So you can ask it for theme ideas or for even just ideas based upon like an actual fact. Hey, here is a fact. Can you please give me ideas for how I can tie this fact into my presentation if you're planning a corporate event or things like that? That would be during the concept and the ideation phase. Number two would be the planning and organization phase. If I were planning an event and I were to use or organizing my event, here's how I might use it is I might go to ChatGPT or I might go to one of these LLM models and I might type in a prompt and ask for it to give me a timeline. That would be like the agenda, like, hey, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., you're going to have session 1 and 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., you're going to have like session 2, and then you're going to have lunch. So asking it for a timeline. I might ask it for a set of checklists, things that I would either need to do, things that I would need to buy, vendors that I would need to source, different things like that. During the planning and organization phase, that's also going to then lead into number 3, which as you're planning and you're nearing the end of your program, that's going to be communication and documentation. Documentation might look like, let's say, for example, you host your calls on Zoom. Zoom has a great built-in, and I think that there are also plugins that you can add on where there's an AI tool that will listen in on your call, and then it will like type up all the notes of the call for you. Well, you can take that, copy and paste that directly into a system like Event Builder Pro. You can put that in as the note, like the whole thing would be a note, or you can feed it into an AI tool and you can ask for like the top 3 takeaways or what are the 5 bullet points that were mentioned during certain part of the meeting. So you can use those things to summarize it and help you document along the way. Communication would be a little bit different. Communication would be, okay, I have my event, I've got my details nailed down, and I have a group of 50 volunteers for my 5K, but I need instructions for them for how to set up everything. And so I could go to an AI tool and I could give it a prompt and say, hey, I'm planning an event. Here's the context of it. I need you to help me write an email to the volunteers of this event for the welcome and registration and for setting up the tents and for welcoming the vendors and how to answer frequently asked questions based upon the details of my event and things like that. And then finally, number 4 would be problem solving. This is one of the coolest things that I've seen these AI tools be able to do is rather than going to Google, like let's say, for example, you are planning an event and you need help with your PowerPoint slide deck. In PowerPoint, there might be certain instructions that you need to follow in order to make sure that you get, I know that one time I was planning this event and I had the CEO of this company, he walks up with this flash drive in his hand and he says, hey, I've got like 150 photos in here and I need this in my slide deck and I want it to go through the pictures pretty quick while I'm talking. So this is going to be on the screen behind them. They're talking and their talk is on like 15 minutes. How do you do that? Not everybody knows how to do that off the top of their head. How do you get that in and get it to where they auto rotate and auto change every certain number of seconds, things like that? So what you could do is you could go to one of these AI tools. You could type in a prompt that says, how do I drag and drop photos into a PowerPoint in a slide deck as fast as possible? And then it will, rather than having to go to a YouTube video and watching, there's probably a great YouTube video out there that shows you how to do it. There's probably a great blog where you can find step-by-step instructions. Instead, these AI tools, they're going to search through their database. Now, it is limited simply because a lot of them are, unless you pay for like an upgraded version, a lot of these are not able to access the internet, meaning like the most up-to-date information. Now, they probably have most of the internet archived and access to most of the information from like 2023 and before that, or maybe a couple of months ago and things like that. What you would do is you would go to this AI tool, You'd say, hey, here's what I'm trying to do. How do I do this thing? How do I put these photos into a PowerPoint as fast as possible? And then it will give you step-by-step instructions. And if you run into a roadblock, you can just chat back with it and say like, hey, I can't figure out how to do step number 3. And then it will break it down even further for you. That's a really great way to do that. So those are the 4 different things that you would be doing with an event planning. This is how it's going to make you more productive and more creative as an event professional. So that's concept and ideation, planning and organization, communication and documentation, and problem solving. Now, let's put this into practice. So we're going to do a real quick live demo where we are going to actually brainstorm with artificial intelligence, or at least we're going to look at, I've already taken a prompt. So I said, okay, we have a corporate team building retreat coming up. We've got 50 people, 2 to 3 days, and we need ideas for the theme, the topics, the activities, and the location. So I'm going to exit my screen right here, and we are going to go to one of my accounts here in Event Builder. I'm going to, this is a list of events that I have right here. So I've got a couple of different events, like my first event, Mr. Beast's wedding. So these are where I would be planning everything. But if you go up here to the top right corner and you click on the little stars, that's going to pop up with your built-in AI event assistant. It's built right within Event Builder. I said to the Builder, my AI event assistant, in a new chat, I said, I'm planning a corporate team building retreat. It's for 50 people, 2 to 3 days. I need ideas for the theme, the topics for conversations, the activities for the team building, and the locations to consider traveling to. I hit enter, and then all I did was wait for it to come back with some ideas. So we've got corporate team building retreat planning guide. So this is all the text that it gave back to me. So it's got some theme ideas for me, like building bridges, so focusing on cross-departmental collaboration. There are conversation topics. I asked it for some ideas and topics based upon these certain categories, what it gave back. And then it also gave me some activity ideas beyond that. So we've got themes, we've got conversations, and we have these activity ideas. So as you can see, these are really powerful tools. Now, I could take this a step further, and I could say, okay, skill development and improv workshop focusing on communication. So I'm going to copy and paste that, and I would go to Event Builder, to the Builder system, and I would say, please give me step-by-step instructions for the team building activity, and I'm going to paste it right there, improv workshop focusing on communication. And I'm going to submit it, and it's going to load. And one of the cool things about Builder is it will submit these. And then not only within Builder can you ask it questions, can you give it prompts, you can ask it to help you write email templates and different things like that. But you can also do it, and you can label these chats based upon the event that you're working on. If I come back to Event Builder right here, I can see right here that I have a testing one where I was actually testing something, and I just said, create a timeline for a 2-hour daddy-daughter dance. I've got my holiday party chat, and this is our corporate team building one. And now I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to see what it gave to me. So here's the prompt. Please give me step-by-step instructions. And here is the team building activity, the introduction, the materials needed, how long it's going to take, and here's the step-by-step instructions in bullet points. And this is quite a thoughtful, it's even got like 10 minutes. So then I could come back to my Event Builder event, and I could build this in to the timeline if I wanted to. And if you want to go deeper into artificial intelligence and you want to see some additional tools, here's a video that I put out that goes deeper into 5 different tools and how to use them to make you more productive at event planning.